Today, I'm revealing the 5 habits that quietly shut off fat burn after menopause and the simple swaps that turn it back on. Most women who fix habit number 3 see their midsection start moving within 2 weeks. We're counting down from 5 to the number 1 most powerful hormonal reset of all. Here's the thing. Each step on this map makes the next one stronger. Skip one and the others don't work the same. That's why you need the complete path. See this woman? This is Caroline. She told me she'd been dieting since the 90s and felt like a failure. Stay with me until the end. I'll reveal her transformation and you'll have the complete roadmap to break the cycle like she did. Habit number 5 is under-eating protein. And I know right now you're probably thinking, Claudia, I'm trying to lose weight. Why would I eat more of anything? Because after menopause, muscle becomes your metabolic savings account. And if you keep withdrawing from it, low calories, tiny portions, salads with barely any protein, your body loses muscle. Then fat loss gets harder even when you're doing everything right. Here's the simple science. Muscle is one of the main places your body stores glucose after you eat. So when you have more muscle, you have more room to park that glucose safely. When you have less muscle, glucose stays higher, your body needs more insulin to deal with it, and higher insulin makes it easier to store fat and harder to access stored fat. That's not a motivation problem. That's basic physiology. The importance of this protein anchor is backed by a 2023 review published in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle, which focused on midlife women. The study indicates a strong correlation between reaching specific protein intake thresholds and the prevention of sarcopenia, which is the age-related loss of muscle mass that accelerates rapidly after menopause. And the menopause piece matters here. Estrogen supports muscle maintenance and insulin sensitivity. When estrogen drops, a lot of women notice they get softer, weaker, and more carb sensitive without changing anything. That's why protein stops being a fitness-only thing and turns into a fat loss requirement. The thing most people miss is that high protein isn't a vibe, it's a number you actually hit consistently. The target is 30 to 50 grams of protein per meal, not per day, per meal. Consistency is the key here. So what do you do with that? You make protein the anchor of the meal, not the side character. Here's the easiest way to think about it. You're not building a perfect diet. You're building a repeatable plate. If you eat 2 meals a day, you're aiming for 2 solid protein hits. If you eat 3 meals, you're aiming for 3. Either way, you start the meal by asking one question. Where's the protein and how much is it? Then you add the rest around it. Here are some practical examples because vague advice is useless. Chicken breast, turkey, lean beef, eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, tuna, salmon, sardines, tofu if you tolerate it, tempeh, or a protein shake if you truly need convenience. The specific choice is personal. The pattern is not. Now, common mistakes I see all the time. Mistake 1, protein only at dinner. Breakfast is coffee, maybe a little yogurt, lunch is a salad, and then dinner is the real meal. That sets you up for afternoon cravings, nighttime snacking, and a blood sugar roller coaster that feels like my willpower is bad. It's not. You're underfed on the one macronutrient that actually stabilizes you. Mistake 2, grazing on low-protein snacks. Nuts, bars, crackers, fruit again, not evil foods, but they don't give you enough protein to protect muscle and keep glucose steady. You just end up eating all day without ever really hitting the target. Mistake 3, you undereat protein because you're afraid it'll kick you out of fat loss. But hear me out. If you're losing muscle, you're losing the thing that keeps you insulin sensitive. And insulin sensitivity is the whole game when your hormones shift. Now, here's your quick win for tomorrow. Don't overhaul your entire week. Pick one meal and hit the 30 to 50 gram target. Just one. And if you hate tracking apps, use hand portions. Aim for a palm and a half to 2 palms of a dense protein at that meal, depending on your body size and appetite. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be consistent. And once you nail that, everything else clicks because protein sets the foundation. But if your meals spike glucose and you sit right after, you're still fighting yourself. So next, we're going to the easiest insulin off switch almost nobody uses. Habit number 4 is skipping the 10 to 15 minute walk after you eat. And I get it. You're thinking, Claudia, I'm already working out. I'm already tired. You want me to add another thing? But hear me out. This isn't more exercise. This is a blood sugar cheat code. This off switch isn't just a theory. It is rooted in how your muscles mechanically interact with your blood. A 2022 meta-analysis published in Sports Medicine indicates a strong correlation between light physical activity immediately following meals and improved glycemic control. When you walk, even at a stroll, your large leg muscles, like your quads and glutes, act like a giant sponge that pulls glucose directly out of your bloodstream to use for energy. The magic is that your muscles can do this without needing extra insulin, effectively bypassing a broken or resistant system and blunting the blood sugar spike by up to 30%. The reason this works is simple physiology. When you eat, glucose rises. Your body answers by releasing insulin to move that glucose out of the blood and into storage or muscle. During menopause, a lot of women notice they get more reactive to carbs, more puffy, more snacky, and their belly gets more stubborn. That's partly because sleep gets lighter and stress can run higher, and both of those push insulin higher too. So you end up with this annoying combo: bigger glucose spikes, higher insulin, and less access to stored fat. Now here's where most people mess up. They think the solution is to burn it off with a hard workout. But intense workouts right after eating can backfire for some people. More hunger later, more stress response, and then you're right back to cravings at night. What we want is the opposite: gentle movement that soaks up glucose without spiking appetite. Science-wise, the concept is that working muscles can take up glucose, and even light activity after a meal tends to blunt the post-meal rise in glucose. That means your pancreas doesn't have to scream with insulin just to handle dinner. And lower insulin after meals is one of the fastest ways to make fat loss feel possible again, especially around the midsection. So what do you do exactly? You pick your biggest meal of the day, usually dinner for most women, and you do 10 to 15 minutes of walking after. Not an hour, not a power walk that leaves you sweaty and ravenous, just movement. Think of it like turning on a little drain for glucose so it doesn't pool in your bloodstream. And if walking outside isn't realistic, here are 3 formats that work. 1, the normal outside walk. Phone stays in your pocket if you can. Keep it easy. 2, the house loop. Literally pace around your living room, kitchen, hallway. I've had women do laps while they clean up dishes. It counts. 3, stairs or a stepper if you have it. Slow and steady. This is not cardio punishment. It's a metabolic rinse cycle. The real magic is the trigger. Tie it to the last bite. Last bite of dinner, shoes on. Or last bite, you set a timer for 12 minutes and you walk until it goes off. Make it automatic so you don't have to negotiate with yourself every night. Now let me talk about common mistakes real quick. Mistake 1, you wait until later. Later becomes never. Post-meal is the point. Mistake 2, you go too hard and call it high-intensity cardio. Then you're starving at 10 p.m. and the kitchen reopens. Don't do that. Mistake 3, you tell yourself it doesn't matter because you barely walked. Consistency matters more than intensity here. Now here's a quick win. Do this after dinner for 7 days. And don't just track the scale. Track cravings, sleep, and how your belly feels in the morning. A lot of women notice they're calmer at night and less snacky, which is huge. But that's only half the story, because you can walk, you can hit protein, and still feel stuck if the fats you're eating are literally irritating your cells. So let's talk about the oil change that most people ignore. Before habit 3, I just want to say behind every video is a ton of effort, And the best reward is knowing you enjoyed it. By liking and commenting, you give me the motivation to keep creating more content. Thank you for being part of this journey. Habit number 3 is the oil problem. And I'm not talking about you ate fried food once. I mean the everyday stuff that sneaks in through salad dressings, restaurant meals, and healthy packaged foods. Right now, you're probably thinking, Claudia, I don't even eat sugar anymore. How could oil be the thing blocking fat loss? Because this isn't just calories, it's cell signaling. The danger of these oils lies in their ability to mute your cellular communication. Science-based guidelines released by researchers in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism validate that inflammation within the cell membrane can interfere with hormone receptor sites, particularly for insulin. When these membranes are compromised by unstable, inflammatory fats, the signal to burn energy is blocked. By swapping these for stable fats, like grass-fed butter or avocado oil, you are essentially performing an oil change for your cells, allowing your hormones to communicate clearly again. Here's a perfect analogy. It's like hitting mute on a microphone. Your body can be making insulin, maybe even a lot of it, but the cells don't hear the signal clearly. And when that happens, glucose stays higher, insulin stays higher, and fat loss feels like pushing a car with the parking brake on. And menopause makes this more noticeable because you already have less hormonal wiggle room. Lower estrogen can mean worse insulin sensitivity for many women. So if you stack that on top of constant inflammation signals from the fats you're cooking with, yeah, stuck city. Do you remember Caroline? I'm about to show you her after photo. The secret to her success wasn't another strict diet. It was finally eating to heal her metabolism. The result is permanent and it is beautiful. Stick with me. So, which oils are we talking about? Here is the list: canola oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, rice bran oil, and grapeseed oil. These show up on labels as vegetable oil too, which is basically the most unhelpful name ever. And there's one more that surprises people: fish oil supplements. Most fish oil is rancid and unstable, and that's why it can be inflammatory. So instead of fish oil pills, just eat small fatty fish like salmon and sardines. So how do you actually do the oil change without losing your mind? First, do a pantry scan. Flip bottles. Look at dressings, mayo, chips, crackers, protein bars, nut butters, anything in a bag. If one of those oils is in the first few ingredients, it's a regular part of your intake, not a rare thing. Second, learn the restaurant strategy, because this is where most women get stuck. You can eat perfectly at home and then get cooked in soybean oil every time you go out. So you ask one question: what do you cook with? If they can't answer, go simpler: grilled meat or fish, steamed veggies, salad with oil and lemon on the side. It's not about being perfect. It's about not getting hit with a seed oil bath 3 times a week. Now the swaps. For cooking, grass-fed butter, ghee, coconut oil, beef tallow, duck fat. For dressings and dips, avocado oil and extra virgin olive oil. And watch the sneaky mistake here. People buy avocado oil and assume it's always clean, then they pour half the bottle. So yes, choose better fats, but still treat oil like a condiment, not a beverage. Quick micro story, because this clicked for me when I saw it happen in real life. I remember when I had a client who was overwhelmed. She didn't want to fast, didn't want to change workouts, didn't want another plan. So we picked one non-negotiable. She tossed anything with those oils and cooked with the swaps. That's it. Within a few weeks, she reported fewer cravings, less puffiness, and her waist started moving again. Not magic, less noise in the system. And once you do this, a lot of women notice something weird. They're not as snacky, because their cells aren't constantly irritated. Now, this is where it gets weird. You can do protein, walking, and the oil change and still feel stuck if your body's treating fat loss like a danger signal at night. That's habit number 2. Habit number 2 is late night eating. And this one hurts because it's usually not even hunger. It's, I'm finally sitting down, or I deserve a treat, or you're just trying to calm your brain after a long day. But science-wise, this is a brutal setup after menopause. Stay with me. Before the end of the video, I will give you 2-part fat lose protocol. Timing your last bite is critical because of how your hormones interact during sleep. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine involving women with low estrogen levels found a strong correlation between shortened sleep, often caused by late-night digestion, and the rapid accumulation of visceral fat. Furthermore, research in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism shows that nocturnal insulin levels, spiked by late-night snacks, suppress the release of human growth hormone, HGH. Since HGH is responsible for repairing cells and burning fat while you dream, eating too close to bed effectively locks your fat-burning furnace for the night. And here's the part most people don't connect. Deep sleep isn't just rest. Deep sleep is the time you lower insulin, burn fat, and do a lot of your cleanup work. But if you're digesting and pushing glucose around, you get less deep sleep. Then you wake up puffier, hungrier, and more insulin resistant the next day. So the next day you crave more quick energy, you snack more, and the cycle keeps going. Now layer menopause on top. Sleep is already lighter for a lot of women. Hot flashes, wake-ups, racing thoughts. So when you add late-night eating, it's like throwing gasoline on a fire you're already trying to put out. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and you have more cortisol receptor sites in belly fat compared to other areas, which is why belly fat tends to be the cortisol belly zone. So if you're doing the late-night snack thing, you're not just fighting calories, you're poking the exact hormones that push fat storage into the midsection. So what do? The rule is boring, but it works. No food 4 to 5 hours before bed. It's the easiest metabolic win almost nobody actually does. So if you're in bed around 11, your last bite is around 7. If you go to bed at 10, kitchen closes at 6. And yes, at first you're going to feel like, wait, what do I do at night then? That's normal. Your brain is used to using food like an off switch. Now the tricky part is making this realistic. Dinner timing templates that work. Either eat dinner earlier or keep dinner the same time but make it more satisfying. That means you tighten up dinner protein and you don't do the tiny dinner then I forage at 9:30 thing, because that's the pattern that wrecks you. And if you're genuinely hungry later, don't panic. Usually it's one of 3 things. Dinner was too light on protein, you're underslept, or you're dehydrated and low on minerals. So try a hot herbal tea, water, and a salty mineral drink if you tolerate it. Not because it's magic, because it helps your body stop confusing stress signals for hunger. Here is some common mistakes. Just a snack, wine plus snacks, protein bars at night, or eating because you're tired, not hungry. If you remember nothing else, tired hunger is a liar. You're tired, not hungry. Here's a quick win. Run a 7-night experiment. Pick a kitchen close time and stick to it. Track how many times you wake up, your morning appetite, and whether your belly looks less inflamed. That feedback loop is how this becomes automatic. As we are moving to habit 1, stay with me. I will give you 2-part fat lose protocol. Habit number 1 is doing the same diet every day. Same carbs, same fasting window, same workouts, same everything. And it feels disciplined. But for a lot of women after menopause, it creates this dead-end plateau. Here's the word that matters: metabolic inflexibility. If you are insulin resistant, basically you are struggling to burn fat. And if you do one approach nonstop, especially if you're stressed, underslept, and undereating, you can end up teaching your body one narrow setting. Then it adapts. Then you're stuck. Now you're probably thinking, so what, I need to eat random stuff? No, you need a rhythm, a structure that nudges your body back into flexibility without making you live in diet jail. Here is your two-part protocol. First is a short keto phase, 7 to 14 days of keeping carbs under about 50 grams per day, focusing on protein and the healthier fats we already talked about. Plus, no snacking between meals. The point isn't that keto is magical. The point is it lowers insulin fast for many people and reteaches your body how to access stored fat. Then, after that foundation, keto flex, using the 5-1-1 rhythm. This is the plateau prevention piece. Let me break it down clearly. 5 days a week, you do an 18-6 schedule. 18 hours fasting, a 6-hour eating window, usually something like 12 to 6, but you can shift it. In that window, you eat 2 to 3 meals, protein forward, no snacking, and you keep carbs low, roughly in that under 50-gram range across the day. Then you have one day that's a feast day, or keto flex day. No fasting that day, you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You intentionally bring carbs up from whole foods. You eat 150 grams of carbs for that day. And you keep protein high, but you lower fat. Why? Because you're giving your metabolism a different signal. You're showing your body food isn't scarce, we're safe. For a lot of women, that helps with the stall that happens when the body gets too used to restriction. And then the last one day per week, a 24-hour water fast. Dinner to dinner is the simplest, just water and minerals or electrolytes. This is where people go wrong, so listen, if you're already stressed, sleeping poorly, or you have a history of disordered eating, don't force this. And if you're diabetic, on insulin, or on glucose-lowering meds, this is a doctor conversation first, non-negotiable. Now, the quick win, if this feels like a lot, start with the easiest piece of the 5-1-1 rhythm. For the next 5 days, do 2 to 3 meals, no snacking, and close the kitchen early like we just talked about. That alone breaks plateaus for a lot of women because it stops insulin drip feeding all day. If you only do one thing, do the kitchen closed rule. No food 4 to 5 hours before bed for 7 nights. Then stack protein, the post-meal walk, the oil change, and finally the 5-1-1 rhythm. Pick your one non-negotiable for the next week, comment which one you're choosing, and watch the next video on fixing sleep and cortisol so the belly finally moves. And here she is. Look at Caroline now. She isn't dieting anymore, she is living. That is the result of consistency, not starvation. She told me this is the first time in 30 years she feels at peace with food. Caroline proved that you don't need to suffer to get results. If she can break the cycle at 54, so can you. I'm Claudia. Let's find your freedom today. The fitness industry hates this video. Click right here to see the secret supplements and exercises they're hiding from you.